Your Highness, Sheikh Nayan, Mubarak Al Nayan, His Excellency, Ambassador M.R. Lokesh, Rajan Kilachan, distinguished guests gathered here, my friends in the media, ladies and gentlemen. Ever since the global economy got integrated to the extent it has been integrated, the world is truly moving towards a global village. And of course, the impact of that was felt by us across the world when the financial crisis and the meltdown took place. We suddenly realized that what happens in one part of the world impacts hundreds and thousands of miles away, ordinary people living their ordinary lives. And in a sense, the 21st century and the way we grapple with the problems of the 21st century will be determined by how well we understand the integration of global challenges and the collaborative necessity of meeting them. Our failure or success as Homo sapiens is going to depend on our understanding of those issues. The one thing that has happened, of course, is that the economies are opening up. There is a process of liberalization that is on under the aegis of the World Trade Organization. And nations are realizing that it's important for us to move together to deal with issues that confront us. Yet there are restrictions in the mobility of goods and services. There are restrictions in the mobility of human beings from one territory to another. But the one thing where which there are no restrictions is the transfer of knowledge. Even as I stand here and I interact with you today, the one thing that has no borders is knowledge. Knowledge moves at the speed of almost lightning across territorial borders. And access to knowledge is without borders. That's the one thing that has changed the way the global community interacts with each other. There are two things that have happened in the 20th century that have changed the way that we interact with each other. The one is the splitting of the atom, and the other is the discovery of the internet. And it is these two momentous events that are going to change the way we live and we deal with each other in the 21st century. The second point that I wish to make to you is that today, as we deal with each other and as we recognize the financial meltdown that has taken place, we should start thinking about the meltdowns that are going to take place in the future. I'm not talking about finance and the economy at all. I'm talking about yet another meltdown that is going to confront the global community, which I call the human resource meltdown. If you look at the demographics of the world, you look at Europe, you look at Japan, you look at the United States of America or even China with the one-child policy, Australia, you will realize that by 2050, there is going to be an enormous deficit of the global workforce in those regions of the world. Germany, I know the German Chancellor is here in the UAE today. By 2050, the population of Germany would have decreased by several millions. And a large section of the population of Germany would be people who would be above 55 and 60. So there would be a huge human resource deficit. Not just in Germany, I just gave you the figures of Germany, but I could give you the figures of many other parts of Europe, Australia, Japan. So the question that we need to ask ourselves is, when there will be a meltdown of this human resource, which are the countries in the world which will be able to supply the workforce to serve the global community, not just its own national communities? By 2040 or 2050, India perhaps will be the youngest nation in the world. Today, as I talk, we have about 546 million people, which is more than the entire population of Europe, who are less than 25 years of age. But by 2050, we will be the youngest nation in the world. And the question that we need to ask ourselves today is, how will the global community charter its course into the 21st century by recognizing the human resource meltdown and delineating for itself the roadmap of collaboration, so that the workforce found anywhere else in the world serves the global community. That's the question that we need to ask ourselves today if we're going to meet that challenge 20, 30, 40 years from now. The third point that I wish to mention is that economies are at different levels of development, whether it's the United States of America or Europe, those are developed economies. But there's a large continent in Africa which is yet to discover itself and lay the foundations of a modern economy. There are large parts of South Asia which suffer from the same problem. What we need to know is, what are the solutions that we can put in place together to serve different economies at different levels of development.